Welcome to episode 159 of the Lone Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about some standouts from last night's match between Ottawa and Carolina. And Ottawa ended up, surprisingly, they shut out Carolina 3-0 in their own building. And Ottawa was playing really well throughout. I thought there was a lot of engagement in terms of connectivity from their offensive zone structure, and I felt like their O zone was a lot of why they were able to win this game. And Carolina, they're a team that plays a very structured game, so it's not necessarily super easy to beat them defensively, and especially in their own zone. So with Carolina, this was a really interesting game for them. Obviously, just probably one of those games where they didn't play well and get back right on track. But with Ottawa, some standouts. Michael Matteo, I thought was really good, and he had two assists, and he was really good as a checking forward, really good providing some degree of offense, and he was really engaged all throughout the board. I thought that his offensive ability was most noticeable throughout this game, and a guy, like I said, he's a checker, but when he can provide some offense. So he was very reliable there. I thought his forechecking detail was good, and Ottawa, sometimes they were running 2-1-2s in their ozone forechecks, and they were doing a really good job of getting F1 Harden and then having F2 for back support right away. So I felt like Amadio was a big part of that in some sequences throughout this game, and he was really reliable and interchangeable as the F1, F2 in the zone. Nick Cousins, kind of that similar thing where similar to Mario, he plays a checking detailed game and he can be reliable as an offensive guy when necessary. He's not going to be super offensively oriented per se, but a guy who can provide that offense and provide it in waves. And so with Cousins, he's a guy, like I said with Amadio, I feel like as a forechecker, he's noticeable in terms of details, how he angles guys, how he closes plays off, how he kills plays. And at the same time, Cousins is a guy who can be very tenacious in his D zone and very reliable there. And just overall a pest to play against. Like he's not a guy you want to match up against because he's always on you. He's always marking you man to man. He's going to be relentless with his stick and his positioning, and he's going to work relentlessly to try and get goal side positioning on you. So defensively, I noticed him a lot, and I noticed him a lot throughout this game as well. I felt like as a shutdown player, that's especially evident. And with Cousins, a guy, you notice him in terms of that shutdown ability on a regular basis as well. Shane Pinto scored twice in this game, and it's been a slower start to the season for him, but I've really liked his game as of late. I feel like in terms of the center details in his game, how he's supporting plays, how he's supporting pucks low, not only offensively but defensively, and being able to be a two-way center, be a transitional center, be a guy who can attack the middle of the ice and be reliable in many different aspects of the game, I feel like is what Ottawa really wants from him. And with Pinto, a guy you can rely upon for offense when needed as well, more so than Cousins and Amadio because they're more bottom six checkers. But with Pinto, you're getting a guy who can be a top nine guy easily in terms of the center group there. And Pinto, a guy who can provide some shot volume. He's really good at getting interior, getting off the wall, finding space, looking to maneuver inside. And I feel like he's gotten more skilled with the puck on his stick in interior space and being able to maneuver in small areas as his career has gone on. So really detailed game from him and was really fun to watch all throughout. Drake Batherson, I've liked his game throughout the season thus far. I feel like with Batherson, an offensive guy who can be a dual threat player, who can provide goal scoring. He can score around the net. He could score from in tight places around the crease, and at the same time, a underrated playmaker. I feel like he doesn't necessarily get a ton of credit for his playmaking because the goal scoring is what he's relied upon for most. And I feel like he's going to be a guy that could certainly pop off and hit 40 goals at some point in his career. I feel like he has too good of a shot and too good of scoring instincts to not get there and was not necessarily creating volume on his shots throughout this game, but I noticed his ability to shoot and create open lanes and be able to utilize the scoring instincts in that sense. And also, like I said before, being able to generate shots from around the net and being able to generate from around the crease. I feel like he's got a really good instinct for finding the net, finding the crease, and stopping at the net. So he was noticeable there. Thomas Chabot, I really liked his game. I've liked his transitional ability. I liked his zone movement. I like his ability to walk the line and shimmy shake guys, use some fakes and deception within his puck skill to be able to get guys loose and fake away from guys and not only neutral ice, but also in ozone ice. And I felt like he was really noticeable there. I really like Shabbat's skating. I feel like it's one of the bigger highlights of his game. It's the skating, how effortless he really does move. And I know it's a cliche, but when you really talk about skating, you're talking about his crossover usage in particular. That's what I really am intrigued by when I'm watching him the most, like his crossover usage and how efficient he is using his crossovers. So crossover stride ratio, that type of thing. I feel like he takes a lot of crossovers in general, and I really believe that he's really good at using that to be able to propel himself through the neutral ice and in transition with the puck on his stick. So he's really skilled with his feet, really skilled at maneuvering with his feet, and he's really skilled as an all-around playmaker inside the O zone and also neutral zone. And then I like Tyler Clevin as well. I feel like he's been a bigger standout ever since joining the team. It's kind of interesting how they have a lot of North Dakota guys on this Ottawa squad, especially on their decor. But with Clevin, I've noticed him ever since the start of the season. I noticed him in terms of subtle details defensively, closing lanes and being able to kill plays with his gap control. He can fend with range and with space there because he's got a longer reach to be able to extend. And he's really physical with his hands and how he uses his hands to kill plays on entry denial situations and then also in corner coverage and D zone. And when guys are swarming, he likes to get very physical in the corners and very physical in the back wall area. And Clevin's a guy not super offensively reliable. Like you're not going to get a 40, 50, 60 point guy out of him, but certainly a player who can hit I would say anywhere between 20 to 40 points as a defenseman year by year because he's got that shutdown ability. He's got some degree of playmaking. He's not a bad playmaker offensively by any means. It's just he doesn't engage as much offensively. Some defensemen, especially shutdown defensemen are usually more prone to that. So with him, no issue. It's going to be something that continues to get better throughout his career, I feel like. And certainly has the ozone instincts and the defensive instincts to link to his offensive habits, which is already a really good sign. Of course, he's got size to be able to defend, like I said, from range and be able to defend there and really utilize his reach really effectively as well.